Alrighty, so today's video is gonna be my favorite strategy for this league and Settlers, and this has been my most profitable Atlas tree so far. I've made quite a bit of currency, mostly off of that. We are sitting at 192 div right now, saving up for that mage blood, but I have also spent around 60 div on my build, roughly. I would say something like that, close to it, or it's the value of the build currently. It's not that I've spent per se, it's just the current value of the items, stuff like that. Like a bottled faith is still a decent amount of divines, so for that reason, it has a decent value. But yeah, so let's go over the tree first. I have on this tree I have June, which this fits really perfectly together. So I have June, I have harvest or expeditions, I have the harvest that are most necessary in my opinion, and I have all the harbinger stats here as well, and the leftover stuff we use for scarab things. And we are blocking off a couple of mechanics here, just since I don't want to have them spawn in. I want to do certain things. So this is basically a two-in-one tree, I would say. You either go for the full harbinger. It's actually kind of a 3-in-1, you could say, but I use it as 2-in-1. You either go the harbinger strategy and you use your harbinger scarabs, which they are slightly expensive, but I would go these 3 and then double of these, right? So we go like 2 of these and 1 of each here, like that. That would be my suggestion for the setup, and then use that tree that I just showed with the harbingers, or at least just take all the harbinger nodes on it. So that's one way to go with the tree. You want to form the harbingers. If not, if you want to go for expeditions and you want to go harvest, you can do those two things at the same time. So I've opted to not take a bunch of the nodes that gives the chance to spawn an expedition. Instead, we're going to use the map device to force a spawn of the expeditions, and we're going to use the scarab to spawn the harvest. So those two combined basically is gonna make it to where we can make like a decent amount, and we'll still get a harbinger here and there, and we'll still have June spawn in pretty much every time. This is a really good way to form out the veiled orbs, which currently is sitting at like 9 or 10 div per, so it's a very good strategy in my opinion, and I have been extremely lucky with doing this. Of course, you can drop the June, you could drop the scarabs if you wanted to, or you could like just drop June and then add more scarabs, for instance. Or if you don't want to use scarabs, you could also add the chance to encounter expeditions and chance to encounter the harvest. But in my opinion, I've much rather use the map device here. It's gonna cost you 6 chaos every time you run a map for this one, and then we do the expedition scarabs, right? But we don't do the one that spawns the expedition, because we already have an expedition spawning in through the map device, and then we use the harvest scarab to spawn the harvest every time, and we get that. Now this one is the expensive part of this. All the others cost basically next to nothing. So 1 C each for these, pretty much 1 C each for these, pretty much 1 C each for these, and these are like less than 1 C. Now these are the expensive ones, right? So 10 is basically 118 C. So it's fairly expensive, right? Like it's at least we could say at least 12 chaos per spin, with this on, but it does give us double the amount of life force, which is in the end gonna provide us with way more value. The life force is selling for quite a decent amount of chaos this round, so that's why I chose this round or this setup for my preferred way to farm out currency. If we jump in, we'll just skip straight to the expedition part. Alright, so here we are on the expedition side of things. Now we are gonna have to look at all of the prefixes, because the one thing that you cannot do on this build is lightning damage immunity. If I take that, I will not do any damage, so sadly this one is slightly bricked, because we have one lightning immunity on this side and one on this side. So in this case I can only go for these in the bottom half, you could say. I do not want to hit this one, and I do have the big bump, so this can be a little bit of an issue. Not 100%, but the way I do it is I try to not include that one. We run over and we check by hovering over the bomb, and as long as the green line is not inside of that one, we are good. Then we go down here, we check, oh, the green line is not inside of this one either, so here we should be good to go. Let's see, oh, and it does take all of them on this side, so that's perfect. We could maybe choose to move it just a tiny bit more down here, but I'm not gonna bother for this part. I'm just gonna spawn them in. Now this can be extremely rippy, don't get me wrong, so do kind of be watching out and moving around. If it's some of the enemies are super rippy, then I suggest just moving around. I try to move forward, move back, move forward, move back, move forward, move back, kind of like that. And then we just push once we feel like at the a high amount of enemies are down. We push everything else, and boom, that's basically it for that. Now, this wasn't like necessarily the best run. Oh, we can't really tell yet. We haven't opened all the chests. I have had some runs where it completely screwed me and I wasn't able to kill it, and there was so much loot left on the ground. When I died the final time, it was a little bad. Shit happens. You're gonna have to accept that with this strategy, just because of how rippy they can be. But the overall loot generation is insane on this, and I've made so many divines from this part. Now we skip to the harvest real quick. Let's do that. Alright, here we are inside the harvest. Sadly this time we only get purple flowers. It's all good though. These can be slightly rippy at times, but I don't think it's a big problem. They die fairly fast and they don't really do ton of damage on this build. If you're super classy, it can be a little bit of a problem. And we of course always hope that we get to roll 2 sets of flowers instead of just 1 on each day. In this case we are only rolling 1 on this one and 1 on the other one. Good though. From time to time you'll see that this is like, there's a lot more to be gained in here. Oh, see, now we get 2 rolls. That's awesome. Sadly, it's not a good second roll, but good enough for now. Better than only 1. And as you can tell, this has not been a big issue, but the build is of course very, very, very strong, and it's very, very well suited for doing this type of strategies. So easy, fast, and decent amount of loot, so I cannot complain about that. Now just for we do the, if we can find our June encounter here. Thought so. I did take the hurricane, don't worry about that, but this is basically just our bonus loot, and it gives insanely good XP killing these guys on top of it. So We'll execute him, we'll execute him, get a level 3, and then we'll interrogate you. We don't even care about that loot. We have unlocked basically every failed mod, and I'm not really wanting to look through them. If it's rings and stuff, and certain armor or like base types, I'll look through. But other than that, I don't even give a I don't care. I'm just flying. Next one. Of course, these can there's one specific guy that can be a little annoying here, which is this guy. This guy can instant freeze you, and that can be an issue, but besides that, fairly easy, honestly, and it's super fast. So, that being said, I appreciate you watch the video, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.